Imagine Neptune before Triton arrived. Not the lonely blue world we know today, sitting in the outer darkness with one giant moon dominating everything. Imagine an older Neptune, surrounded by a quieter family of moons, moving in cleaner paths, like a system that had not yet been disturbed. Then something huge entered. Triton, a Pluto-like world from the frozen outskirts of the solar system, was captured by Neptune's gravity. It did not simply join the system, it barged in. Its arrival may have scattered Neptune's original moons, pushed them into collisions, and left the whole system broken. Almost everything from that first moon family may have been lost, but one small moon is still there, Nereid. And if Triton tore Neptune's old moon system apart, how did Nereid survive? To understand why this question matters, you have to look at Neptune itself. Neptune is not a planet we know well. It is the farthest major planet from the Sun, so far away that sunlight there is not like sunlight on Earth. It is more like dim twilight. Only one spacecraft, Voyager 2, has ever flown past it, and that was in 1989. Since then, Neptune has mostly remained a distant blue mystery. That is why every clue from its moons matters. Around Jupiter and Saturn, scientists can study huge families of moons. Neptune is different. Its moon system looks strange, almost damaged. One moon, Triton, dominates the entire system. The others are much smaller, scattered, or hard to study. It feels less like a neat family and more like the aftermath of something violent. Triton is the key to that mystery. It is Neptune's largest moon, but it behaves like an outsider. Most big moons move around their planets in the same general direction the planet rotates. Triton goes the opposite way. That backward motion is one of the strongest signs that Triton was not born around Neptune. Scientists think it came from the Kuiper belt, the same cold outer region where Pluto lives and was captured by Neptune long ago. That sounds simple, but capturing something as large as Triton is not gentle. Imagine a new giant moving into a crowded neighborhood and knocking everything out of place. The moons that were already there would not just keep orbiting peacefully. Triton's gravity could have pulled them into new paths, forced some into crashes, and destroyed the old order around Neptune. This is where Nereid becomes important. Nereid is Neptune's third largest moon, but it is not large in the way most people imagine moons. It is about 350 kilometers wide. Big enough to be a real moon, but small enough that it is easy to overlook beside giants like Triton. Nereid was discovered in 1949 by Gerard Kuiper, long before spacecraft gave us close-up views of the outer planets. For decades, it was mostly known for one thing: its strange orbit. Most moons travel around their planet in paths that are close to circular. Nereid does not. Its orbit is stretched out like a long oval. Sometimes it comes much closer to Neptune. Then it swings far away into space, so far that its path looks less like a normal moon orbit and more like something that barely escaped. It takes almost a whole Earth year to complete one trip around Neptune. For a long time, that weird orbit made scientists suspect Nereid was captured too. Maybe it was another outsider like Triton. Maybe it also wandered in from the outer solar system and Neptune trapped it. But the James Webb Space Telescope has changed that picture. A team led by Matthew Belyakov at Caltech used Webb to study Nereid's surface. They were not just looking at its orbit, they were trying to read what the moon is made of. That matters because an object's material can act like a fingerprint. It can tell scientists whether something formed nearby or came from somewhere else. What Webb found was surprising. Nereid seems to have too much ice to match the kind of objects scientists expected from the Kuiper belt. In simple terms, its makeup does not look like a typical captured outsider. It looks more like something that may have belonged to Neptune from the beginning. That changes the whole story. If Nereid formed around Neptune, then it may be one of Neptune's original moons, not a visitor. Not a random object Neptune grabbed later. A native moon born into the first version of Neptune's moon system, and that means its strange orbit may not be the sign of capture. It may be a scar. Nereid may have started closer to Neptune in a calmer path. Then Triton arrived. The moon system was disrupted. Many of the old moons may have crashed, shattered, or been thrown into different orbits. Nereid somehow avoided the worst of it. Instead of being destroyed, it was pushed outward into the long, stretched orbit it still follows today. That is why this discovery feels less like a normal astronomy update and more like a cold case being reopened. The crime scene is Neptune. The intruder is Triton. The missing victims are Neptune's original moons. And Nereid may be the witness that survived. There is another reason this matters. Neptune's small inner moons may not be original at all. Some scientists think they could have formed later from the broken remains of earlier moons after Triton's arrival. If that is true, then much of Neptune's current moon system is not the original system. It is debris reorganized after chaos. But Nereid might be different. It may not be a leftover fragment rebuilt later. It may be one of the actual old moons, still moving around Neptune after billions of years. That is a powerful idea because Nereid is not impressive at first glance. It is not the biggest moon. It does not have famous oceans. It does not have the dramatic status of Triton. There are no detailed close-up images showing mountains, cliffs, or geysers. It is distant, icy, and understudied. Even the scientists behind the study pointed out that for its size, Nereid is extremely understudied. That makes sense. Neptune is far away, difficult to reach, and no spacecraft is currently on its way there. So for now, Webb is one of the best tools we have for reading clues from this tiny survivor. And that is what makes Nereid so interesting. It is not exciting because it looks spectacular. It is exciting because it should not be easy for it to exist where it is. Think about it. A huge captured moon enters Neptune's system. The old moons are scattered. The system gets reshaped. Triton becomes the dominant moon, and yet Nereid remains, traveling on a stretched path, far from Neptune, like it was thrown outward but not lost. It is not sitting peacefully in the inner system. It is not gone. It is stuck between those two outcomes, still orbiting, still carrying the evidence. This is why the word survivor fits so well. Not because Nereid fought back. Moons do not choose anything. It survived because gravity, timing, and chance placed it on a path that allowed it to remain while much of the old system vanished. And in space, survival often looks like that. Not heroic. Not loud. Just a strange object left behind after the violence is over. The bigger story is that our solar system is not as calm as it looks today. When we look at planets now, everything feels arranged and stable. Jupiter has its moons. Saturn has its rings. Neptune has Triton and Nereid, but these systems were built through chaos. Worlds were captured. Moons collided. Orbits changed. Some objects were erased so completely that we only know they existed because something else still carries the damage. Nereid may be one of those clues. It may be the reason scientists can look backward and reconstruct a lost chapter of Neptune's history. Without Nereid, Triton's arrival would still look strange, but the older moon system would be harder to understand. With Nereid, there may be one surviving piece of the original puzzle, and maybe that is the most haunting part. Nereid is small, it is dim, it is easy to miss, but it may remember something the rest of Neptune's moons could not. A time before Triton, a time before Neptune's system was broken. A time when this distant blue planet had a different family of moons, most of which are no longer there. Today, Nereid continues its lonely path around Neptune. It comes closer, then swings far away, then returns again, carrying its strange orbit like a scar from an ancient disaster. And until a spacecraft finally goes back to Neptune, that scar may be one of the best clues we have. Not from the biggest moon, not from the brightest object, but from the one that remained. Nereid may be the last witness to Neptune's missing moon system. The moon that should have been destroyed, the survivor still circling the scene.